is only war.
What is up, gents? 40k Dirtbags here. We are going to go over the list review for Nova Open. We got Death Guard coming in third place. It was weird with the Nova Open. They actually have brackets. I think Trevi posted about it where they went over the first 5 games. After 5 games, you get placed into a bracket, and that's where you're capped at placings. So if you get into the top 16 and then you go 0 for, for the next 4 games, you're still guaranteed 16th place. So we got into top bracket. Luckily, we went 3-1, and then we won our 5th game. So we went 4-1 to get us into top bracket. And once we got into top bracket, we then played 4 games, which we went 3-1. We lost to Folger. So congrats, Folger, who won Nova Open this year. So we only lost to really him, Sam Pope, who was playing T-Suns on Team YouSee, one of the best players in the world. So those were our 2 losses at Nova. One of them was kind of like with chess clock, which at Nova you can't use chess clocks unless they put you on a chess clock. So that one we'll get into with the video. But we're going to go over picture by picture, turn by turn. Not this video. The next upcoming 3 videos, we're going to do 3 by 3. So 3 games of each day. So we're gonna have 3 videos coming up. If you guys are Patreons, you guys are gonna get to see those ahead of time before YouTube. So I wouldn't be doing this without my Patreons. Thank you so much for the support. We got new merch up on the merch store with the 40k Dirtbags. This literally came in an hour after we left for Nova, so I wasn't able to wear it at Nova. But yeah, so a lot of stuff up on the store if you want to check that out. But we're gonna be going over why we picked Death Guard, what worked, what didn't work, what we're going to change about it, and kind of why I picked what I picked. This was a last minute decision, literally till the last minute at Nova, me making this decision as to why we went with what we went. So let's view our list. So with Death Guard, there was a points nerf recently. Let me make myself a little bit smaller. So there was a points nerf recently with Death Guard, which everybody knows it was needed. They made it a week prior to Nova, so there wasn't really a lot of time to practice. And my list specifically, the one that we took to ACO, we won ACO with, was 135 point difference. So we actually tested the different list on our stream Monday against Max, who actually placed where's Max? 5th. So Necrons, he only lost once. He actually won the best Battle Master or something with the most points. I forget how many. He had basically the most points out of everybody in the entire tournament. So Max, very good player, won his golden ticket, but placed 5th at Nova this year. So he's crushing it. We lost to him on Monday with the updated list that we were going to try and run. And after that loss, it was like the first time I lost with the list with Victorum. So I was like, all right, we really have to change it up going into this, because layout 2 specifically on day 3 was why I needed to change up the list. So our list went up 135 points. I took out Typhus and I took out my enhancements off my Lord of Contagions, which gave us 135 points. So we basically had the 2 Plague Marines, Rhino, everything else was exactly the same. That's what lost significantly. So then we changed it up at the last minute. There was a couple different variations I wanted to try. One of them involved a 20-man Poxwalker unit. The other one was 1 Mythic Blade Hauler, 1 Typhus. The other one was no Typhus still with Plague Marine. Like, it was all different. This is what we finally honed in on, and I have to say I was impressed. So the Mythic Blade Haulers I haven't ran, I don't think, ever, maybe once in the new edition, but like they weren't I wasn't running Morty's Hammer, so in the Victorum list I didn't need them, but I added them to this list, and it was a huge bonus. Shout out to what's his name, Butler, who helped me make this list at the very end. He was one of the Art of War guys, but local guy on the Cuddle Buddies now. He awesome dude, and he's like, dude, just run the Blade Haulers, take out the Plague Marines, and just see what it does. So we changed it up, and let's go over what the changes are first. So we took out Typhus. So Typhus is no longer in here, even though Typhus is my favorite Death Guard model. He's no longer in the list. Sucks because he went up 10 points for no fucking reason. He is out of the list. We took out our enhancements, so I ran all weekend without the Lord of Contagions having enhancements. So no dev, no extra strength, no tough, extra attack, no crit on 5s, none of that. It was all gone. They still hit hard. They just don't hit as hard. We still kept our revolting regeneration with our Demon Prince because it's like a mini Morty running around. So you have Mortarion and a mini Morty. And then we kept our Tallyman for the extra CP. The CP was huge. Having a 2 CP strat in your detachment and one of them being an extra free strat, your CP management is great. Every single time somebody would ask me how many CP I'm on, I'm like, well, like 5 to 7. And they're like, wait, how? I was like, well, let's go over it. So every turn I basically do a free strat for my Demon Prince, and then almost every turn I either get rid of a secondary if the Tallyman doesn't get me a CP. So every single turn by turn 3, you're up to like 7. And I was like, that's probably why. So sometimes I even had to count off how many strats I was doing, and then count the CP so my opponent understood where the fuck I was at. So that was pretty funny to always have the Tallyman in most of your lists. So those are the characters. And then we have 2 spawn units, which actually were clutch in a lot of my games. Having the Scout 6 on 2 different units on 2 different angles, not having to just go one way and hopefully they live. They're really good at spreading the contagion. So having 2 spawn units for 80 points, because the points are so weird now with all the additional 10 points here, 10 points there, 20 points here, like it was a big difference. So having 2 spawn units for only 15 points more than a Poxwalker unit was huge. So I really liked how the spawn performed this weekend, and we did our rules correct this GT. So every time they got charged, the max dice you can roll is 6. There's no max wounds, but technically the max you can do is 6 per unit attacking. I talked to this one dirtbag at the Saturday night, I believe. We were in the bar and we were talking about his Deathwing Knights died to a spawn unit doing Mortals back. I was like, how the fuck did that happen? Quick story, long story short, he was rolling a dice for every attack that went in per model. So he was rolling like 30 fucking dice back to the Deathwing Knights and they all just died. I was like, you didn't ask to look at the rule? What the fuck? So he learned a lesson about spawn. You can only do max 6 back to the unit that is attacking you per unit. So crazy. Then we still have our 2 Death Shroud units. They're still very good for the points, even though they did go up 20 points. Still worth taking 2 units in the Vectorum. And then the 2 floated Blowtrones we kept. We did have an option to take 1 away and just only run 1, but having 1 in your list is so fragile. Like 1 can just die in a random last gang shot. So, or what, you know what I mean. So 1 can randomly just die without doing really anything, and having the 1 CP strat to reroll the amount of D6 shots you have is great to have 2+, because you have them, you have the frag missile, you have the Death Shroud flamers, you have the Morty's D6 blast gun. So that CP strat is really good for these guys in the list. So having 2 of them I think is needed. And this is the new addition. So 2 Mythic Blight Haulers. I'd have to look at their strats or data sheets multiple times, because again, I've never ran them before. But they have lethal multi-guns, multi-melts. 18-inch range. If they're within 9, they get melted 2. They're speed 10. They're really good at tank shocking. So if they move up 10 inches and then get onto a point and tank shock, like they're really good at the additional wounds to kill a knight or a monster, whatever it may be. So they have 4 attacks, AP 1 in combat, and then the 3 Bile Spur, just random shots within 12 inches, and then the 1-shot missile launcher, strength 9, AP 2, D6 damage as well, and they get +1 to hit, +1 to wound onto vehicles and monsters. So most of the things that we're trying to kill with this, because Death Shroud are good at killing everything, but I needed something else to really pop rhinos or transports, and these guys play that role perfectly. 3 OBSEC, they're tankier than the Plague Marines, and yeah, they're just really good at what they did the entire weekend. So this was a huge last change minute decision, but a huge change, taking out the Plague Marines for the 2 Mythic Blight Haulers. Then we rounded up with 3 Poxwalkers. I like having 3 because we can block out our backfield, we can put 1 in the center, and then we can put 1 on our expansion. If need be, we have 1 extra Poxwalker unit than normal to be situational. If they have an infiltrating unit or a scouting army, you can basically just put one of them along the entire line of their scout unit, and then that whole army can't scout. You can have them be really offensive and try and block out on search and destroy the bottom right objective while you get the top left objective and your home field objective. So you can be situational there, and then you can have an extra unit to kind of like go out and be the sacrificial pawn to do turn 1 actions and not worry about still having contagion, because having 3 of these and 2 spawn, we had plenty of contagion the entire weekend. Like there wasn't really a time where I needed to have the extra 2-inch or 3-inch movement. Almost every single time I had something within 6 inches on turn 2 to get the Death Shroud into range of something. So this was the change of the list. It worked out really well. Obviously we came in 3rd overall, but let's go over what does what. So I have a lot of these videos. Every single time we play a GT, we go over what the list is for and why we're running it this way. So we usually post it in the beginning of every video. So this will be the same if you want to just fast forward at this point to where the matches start. But what we're doing here is we're trying to start the game on round 2. So you're setting up turn 1, getting whatever you can in secondaries, and then you're being defensive. And then on round 2, that's when the game really starts with this type of list. The Vectorum build is -1 damage. You can auto explode your big stuff. You can suck wounds away with like Mortarion or Demon Prince, which actually came up a couple times this weekend, which I don't usually do that strat, but it came up and I was like, wow, this actually could work. And then you're just like, you're trying to be as tanky as possible while dishing out key damage with your key units like Mortarion, Demon Prince, and the Lord of Contagions. So why I built this list this way is because of the meta being able to kill anything from at range. So if I can close that gap with my Lord of Contagions and Death Shroud and have everything else behind them kind of like sticky all the objectives and just like push forward, that's kind of what I want to do with this list. So Morty obviously is a key note of why we do what we do with Vectorum. He is kind of like the focal point of this list. So if we have him on the board, I'm using him very defensively turn 1, not even shooting him most of the time on turn 1. And then turn 2, if he can get out and do something, he'll do it. But he's the one that's going to kind of move out, get on a point on turn 2, and just like, here's my army. And if they try and focus down Morty, which you don't want to give to him like super easily, you want to put him like behind a ruin or always in cover, or his wing is behind cover. You want to make it harder for them to kill him. And if they focus down Morty in a turn, most of the time he survives. But if they focus on him, that means they're not going after everything else on the table that's about to get into combat and kill him. So they don't have to focus on the Lord of Contagions and the Death Shroud. They don't focus on the Demon Prince. They don't focus on the Spawn or any of that stuff. They're focusing on the big winged demon right in the middle of their army. And like I said, most of the time they don't kill him unless your 10 fire dragons come in out of a rhino from 27 inches away with reroll hits, wounds, and damage. That's probably the only time they're really going to kill him 100% of the time. But every other time, it's going to be really hard to get to him and shoot him down, because every game, a lot of people ask me, which contagion do you use going into the matches? And almost every single time I do the -1 to hit. It works really well with melee armies, and it works really well with shooting armies. So the only time I would do -1 to damage or -1 to save is probably anything like a 2-up save across the board with no invuln saves. So if you have like Grey Knights or Custodes or whatever it may be, your -1 to hit is going to be a lot better than the -1 to, or -1 to save is going to be better than -1 to hit. Custodes, for example, have the Lion's Attachment. The Lion's Attachment gets +1 to hit, +1 to wound. So if I do -1 to hit against that army, they already hit on 2s and they get +1 to hit. So they're going to hit on 2s again. So it doesn't make sense to do -1 to hit into that specific army. But with Grey Knights, a lot of them are 2-up base saves and they don't have invuln saves. The only ones are the Terminators. So if you go -1 to save them, it takes them from a 2-up to a 5-up to kill them a lot easier, especially in cover. So those are the 2 examples that I'm going to be taking -1 to their armor save. But every other time they're going to want to try and kill you, and I built this list based off tankiness. So if I survive longer, that's going to be the way I'm going to run this list specifically, is be super annoying to the opponent with the -1 to hit and with the -1 damage and stuff like that. So that is the contagion I used all 9 games into all of my opponents this weekend. So Morty's reactive move is one of the main things why we bring him as well. So the reactive move, I tell my opponent every single time, because I hate gotchas and I hate reactive moves. So every time they're about to move near Morty or near a unit near Morty, I'm like, hey, I remember having a reactive move with Morty, and they go, oh, okay, where? And I'm like, well, any within 9 inches of somebody within 6. So then they have to kind of like waste time planning out their moves and all that shit and like where they're going to go. And sometimes they're just like, all right, I have to move forward because I have no other option. So they have to move forward. And that lets me go, okay, am I going to save that reactive move? Or I know that this big FU unit's going to come up after them to try and charge into me. So I'll wait to see what happens. And then if they do come up to charge near me, I can either move back, I can move forward, block out their charge, or move near Mortarion so that way he can countercharge and kill whatever's trying to come into me. So that reactive move is the main focus, I think, of Morty. The shoot back is cool. Most of the time they don't survive, so they can't shoot back anyway. And then the fight on death usually doesn't come up because my Lord of Contagions and Death Shroud are usually too far away for me to proc that. And then Morty, if I let somebody get into melee with Morty, I'll save it. But most of the time, the reactive move is way better than the fight on death, because if they don't even get into combat with me, that's way better. Because losing Morty and getting the fight on death is cool, but losing Morty is not cool. So I want to not even get him into combat if I don't know that I'm going to one-shot the unit going into him. So the reactive move is the main thing we use with Mortarion. It's so good to plan for it, especially for turn 1. So if you put your Poxwalk units on turn 1 in the center and then start deployment within 6 inches of Morty, if on turn 1 they move up on the center objective, you can sometimes steal the center objective back from them, or move back because they were planning on charging you turn 1, but now they can't because the reactive moved 5 inches away. So now their kind of unit is stuck in the open, which then you could just move up and kill them on your turn 1. So having them always start within 6 inches of Morty on turn 1, key. Same with the spawn. Spawn gets a scout move 6, so you can scout move 6, stay within 6 inches of Morty, and do the same thing where now they push 5 inches further, so the way the contagion could be now 5 inches further than you were expecting. But that's kind of how you're playing Morty with you know, the thing. Demon Prince, 90% of the time you want to keep them near the Poxwalkers because they're really your only infantry unit. The Lord of Contagion with the Death Shroud are infantry, but again, they're going to be so far forward that it's going to be tough to keep them within 3 inches of the Demon Prince. So Demon Prince is kind of like second rank, third rank attacks. He's mainly there to do the free CP strat, camp objectives, and just be a 3 damage bully onto Terminators. That's kind of his whole goal. He doesn't want to get one-shotted. Like, I've lost him before on turn 1 or turn 2 because I put him out on objective and didn't ask threat ranges of tanks where they can just like advance up 16 inches, guard, and fucking shoot him in the face. So make sure you know the threat ranges. Make sure that if you put him on an objective that he is not going to be shot the next turn. Like, that is super key with this guy. But again, you want him in the middle of your army to have that 12-inch aura of either a free reroll, free grenade, a -1 to the 2 CP, -1 damage strat, or he can just look at something and do a free strat for himself and target a unit that gets full rerolls to the D6 shots into that unit. So he has his key roles in that, and he's mainly a support piece, a very, very tanky mini Morty support piece in this list that we're building. So, and again, he's in almost every single one of my list. This detachment specifically, he's a mini Morty. So then we got the 2 Lord of Contagions. The lethal sustain lance is just broken. I don't think they needed to increase his points because they increased the Lord of Contagion or the Death Shroud points by 20. But they can't take away the 6-inch deep strike. I was talking to the Disgustingly Resilient guys, I think yesterday, about what could be the changes moving forward with this, and they already increased the points. They've already shown a significantly decrease in win rate and GT wins, especially at Nova. There's only 2 in the top 16, and both of them were running Victorian with Morty. So both of them are very similar to my list, me and the guy. So those are just a great example of like, you don't need to keep kicking a guy that already is down. So increasing these guys without enhancements, they're 120 points base. With enhancements, they go up to 130 to 145. That's fucking expensive. But we run these guys to be just bullies. So they come down, they try and charge something, kill it specifically to like pin on what can kill Morty. And if they can take out what can kill Morty, you basically win the game. Because now Morty's going to be running around doing whatever the hell he wants. Usually what can kill Morty can kill the Death Shroud. Now, if they can't do that anymore, you're essentially going to win the game. So they're kind of picking out what can focus down Morty. And then if they can get to there, great. If they can't, they're going to try and tie up most of the army coming down charge, tie up something so that way they can't fall back and do anything. And they're going to be the turn 2, here's my army. What are you going to go after? So are they going to go after the T7, 2 up, 4 up, 4 wound, Lord of Contagion, Death Shroud units? Or are they going to go after Morty? Or are they going to go after Demon Prince? Or are they going to go after like the Spawn and Poxwalker? So you're giving them all these options and be super aggressive on turn 2. And if they make the wrong decision, usually you're going to win the game. If they make the right decision, which usually is killing everything besides Morty, then you might lose the game. But in that moment, especially if you're using clock, they have to think like, all right, what am I going to try and go after? And that's where it starts to confuse and kind of like overwhelm your opponent, because they hit hard as fuck, so they're going to kill something and then pile into something else and be tanky enough to not die. So, and then obviously the -1 to hit is super annoying as well. So then those are what these guys are there for. And obviously the Tallyman, having sticky objectives, camping your backfield, he basically was 9 inches away from the corner. So that way he had a 9-inch bubble around him, so that way nobody could deep strike onto my objective and nobody could deep strike in the back corner. The other Poxwalkers were about 6 to 8 inches in front of him, spread out in that part of the triangle to block out more of my backfield. So I have 10 Poxwalkers blocking out the backfield, plus the Tallyman blocking out the corner, and that's basically what he did. Every single turn he just try and roll a 2-up. I don't know if he died at all. Yeah, I can't remember him dying any of the games that we played. So he did his job, 50 points. He went up 10 points. I don't know why. I mean, having utility piece for, like, I have to roll 7+ to get the CP. It's not every command phase like it used to be. And then there's other key characters that just give you a free CP without doing anything. They're more points, but they are key, like they do shit. Tallyman literally just sits there and doesn't do anything. That's his whole job, is just sit there and tally. And sometimes he fucking sucks at tallying. So why did he go up 10 points? I don't know. And there's always that awkward 40, 45 point that we have left, and I can't now bring a Tallyman because he's now 50 points. So I can't bring Nurglings either because they're not in this detachment. They're only in one Chaos detachment for the Tallyman summoners. So we're always in like that 40 to 45 extra point range, which there's nothing that we can really bring to fill that role. So then we have to kind of tweak something, change the list. It just sucks. I wish they just kept them at 10 points and called it a day, or 40 points. So then the spawn, I have to do a couple of videos on key units, like how to play your Demon Prince, how to play your Lord of Contagion with Death Shroud, how to play your Mortarion. Like, I could literally make a video of every single what we're talking about right now in a video. So let me know if you guys want to watch that. I know Discussing Related just did one on Mortarion, which they used TTS, which looked great. So we might do something like that. So I want to make a list or a video specifically how to play Spawn, because Spawn are so key in our list now. They're just so tanky, and they're very annoying to deal with because they move through walls. They're speed 8. They don't kill anything. Like, a lot of people are afraid of them. Like, D6 plus 2 attacks, 5, 1, 2. They don't kill anything. Like, they don't have lethals, which sucks. They're hit on 4s, and then usually they wound on 3s or 5s. So don't rely on them to kill something. They usually don't even kill trash units. That's how bad they are. They're mainly there to stop by being extra 2 OPSEC on a point, by taking a charge and doing some mortal wounds back, or maybe exploding and do 1 extra mortal wound. Like, they do explode, by the way. Deadly Demise 1, which they exploded a ton over the weekend. They are there to be tanky and spread your contagion. That's it. And they scout 6, so they get into weird angles that you couldn't get to before. So that's why, and they're 80 points. So that's why they're really good in this list specifically, because the list doesn't start till turn 2. So if you have 2 ways to get your contagion out by going this way or that way, at speed 8, so you have a minimum 14-inch contagion range turn 2, because they can move up 8, get within 6, 14 inches. So if they're right in the center, you have a 14-inch bubble, which is very hard to stay out of on turn 2, that they can just run sprint through the wall. So they go 8 plus maybe 3. So you're looking at like 11 plus 6, so 17 inches across the table contagion to drop in your Death Shroud. So that's what their whole goal. And having 1 was cool, but having 2 is fire, honestly. Like 2 spawn units might be in almost every list that I make now. Death Shroud, still very good. The 6-inch charge is kind of what makes them and makes this niche of an army. I think without the 6-inch deep strikes, this army would be too slow. Walking across the table, they just die. Yeah, so taking away the 6-inch charges kind of nerfs the army significantly. Like, we're not a gun platform, we're not a shooting army. It's literally just get to combat and spread contagion. Like, that is kind of what Death Guard is playing at, especially with this type of build. So making it to like a 7, I probably would just take them out altogether, or run 1 big unit and just rapid ingress. Like, I think moving them to a 7-inch is a significant difference, like a huge nerf. And now they don't have a reliable ability. Like, their ability to come down and actually make a successful charge is key. Coming down and having a 50-50 shot at making a charge is not really how you want to play these guys. So that changes. I just take them out of the list and run something different, or run Taliban summoners. That's probably what I would be doing. So still really good. Have 2 units because 2 different angles. 1 big 6-man is really hard to place onto the board, because with the 6-inch deep strikes, you can get very small pockets to try and make key charges in the backfield. But having a 6-7-man unit, very hard to do that, and it's really hard to get those points back by just killing a 10-man cultist unit that's blocking out your deep strikes. So not good with the 6-man, but 2 3-mans with the Lord of Contagions are great. Heavy bloat drones, still out of 9 games, I still have forgot to use their ability. Just goes to show that you don't need their ability. You're literally just using them for gun platforms. They're trying to get as little of an angle as possible. So most of the time, they're always going to have cover. So AP2 goes to AP1. So you're going to wound most. They're going to have a 3-up, maybe 4-up save most of the time. At least it's AP2. If it's AP1, they fucking suck. But AP2, you can just sliver of a line of sight, which that's where the laser comes into play. So you're either going to walk on from reserves and just barely tip out like your spike to just barely see 1 sword in that 1 unit that you really want to shoot, and then you can't see anybody else. So the whole unit's going to have cover, but at least you can't be shot back. So what I mean by that is, like, if you bring them on the table and you barely have a line that's just a random awkward line going down that their tank can't get to that same line, now he's safe. If you were to move him out and just shoot most of the unit, that means their tank can now move out and shoot most of your spawn or your heavy blight launcher. So that's kind of using them to a key angle point where you want to, kind of like Magnus's wing and sword, right? They always kind of twist Magnus so that way just barely his wing clips what he's trying to shoot at or look at, because you want to use the angles to your advantage. So the floated blow drones or heavy blade launchers, they're always kind of like trying to be as safe as possible, because them late game are just insane. Like, them 3 OPSEC, moving 10, shooting 36 inches, and tank shocking late game is very, 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 very good to have on your table. So them dying turn 1 or turn 2, not good. Sometimes you don't even want to bring them out to shoot something, because you know they're probably not going to kill what they're shooting at, and then they're just going to get shot in return, and because they are key targets. Your opponent is going to look at them, be like, I have to kill that thing as soon as possible. So that's kind of why we use those very defensively. 36 inches away, all the way in the backfield. Mythic Blade Holidays. So these guys are the changes that we brought into the list. And I said it again before, but I was very impressed with them. Them being able to kill vehicles so reliantly, and killing like demon princes, like hitting them on 2s, winning them on 3s or 4s, because they're T10 going down to T9 in contagion, your strength 9 going down to 4s and then 3s. So hitting on 2s, winning on 3s, right, with a 2 or 4 up, they feel their 4 up, it's like D6 plus 2 damage. You might just like one shot a demon prince with your 1 mythic blight hauler. You move up, get within melter range, shoot a crack, and then charge with tank shocking. You could basically kill a demon prince in 1 go. For 100 points, it's a really, really good trade. These guys going up 10 points and these guys going up 20 points, understandable. You just got to play around it. So you have to understand that they can't just be like, here's 90 miniatures. If you don't kill them all, I win. Now it's more of like, all right, I have 4 instead of 6. Let's get their points back. Can I get my 100 points back from my Mythic Blightholder by moving up, stealing objectives, charging, doing tank shock, killing a key Demon Prince model, whatever it may be? Can I get those points back? Or are they just going to kind of like start on the board, deploy them bad, get shot, blow up, die, which happened to Folger. I deployed, not knowing how fucking crazy Eldar are. He basically had 2 different angles to move his tank. He moved it one way. I was like, oh, well, can I deploy here? And he's like, yeah. And then he just moves it the other way and then shoots from the other angle and blows up either way. So that's kind of like, put him in reserves if you can. Like, if you know that they're going to get different angles on because the terrain is so bad, put them in reserves. They're 100 points. Like, deep strike your Lord of Contagions and then put these 2 guys in reserves, walk them on turn 2 with your go turn, and then just blow up whatever you want to try and blow up. So key thing is deploy them very cautiously or start them in reserves because they have 18-inch meltas coming in. So you can rapid them and then move up and get within 9. Usually I'm going to rapid my Lord of Contagion with the Death Shroud unit if I can't get a good 6-inch charge the next turn, or I'll rapid a Mythic Blightholder either onto a point to make it sticky, because a lot of the objectives are within 8 of the table edge. So that means you can walk on 6 and be on the objective. So sometimes you could rapid onto the objective, make that sticky in your command phase, and then move up 10 and get something within 9 inches to blow it up. So they're really good at rapid ingressing or just coming in from reserves and shooting something 18 inches away. So very, 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 very good Mythic Blightholders, especially 2 of them in this list. 3x10 Poxwalker units. I was going to test out a 20-man. I thought it'd be cute and cheeky because usually they can't one-shot a 20-man unless you're Eldar. So I like 3-man units. I like 2 minimum, but having 3 in the list is very good. Like I said before, where you can have 1 be very aggressive and very aggressive on the right flank, 1 in the center, and then 1 in the top left, and then your Tallyman's in the back. Or you can have 1 in the back, spreading out more in your backfield, 1 in the center, 1 in the top left. The top right is very situational. If they don't have any infiltrating, they can't get their turn 1. Then you put the Poxwalkers in the top right to try and make that sticky. But most of the time, they're going to be in the center to do turn 1 actions, top left to make that sticky, and then your bottom backfield object to make that sticky. That's kind of how you're going to be deploying them. And they are key units. So you don't want to just throw them out there to die. You want to make sure they're getting their use from being on the table by spreading Contagion. So if they move out, charge something just to tie up a tank or keep something in engagement range, that is what their main goal is to do, is to move up 5, charge, slingshot, pile in, consolidate, and tag something to just be super annoying. So they don't come out. They might come out turn 1 to do something, but having, again, Morty's reactive move, they are a lot tankier and more maneuverable than just moving them out there without having Morty, and then they just die. So T4 is definitely good. That came up a lot. And then the 5 up Feeling of Pain, that comes up a lot as well. Sometimes if it's turn 1 and you might be bottom turn, you move them up. You do -1 damage to them. So that way all the 2 damage shots going into them might make them live to do an action or something. That could come up as well too. But the reactive move with Morty is usually what I'm using the reactive move for, is the Poxwalkers or himself. So they're going to reactive move away or forward, because Pox is moving forward 5 inches and then spreading out is kind of as scary as them moving back away 5 inches and being closer to Morty. Because let's say there's a 10-man Space Wolf brick running at you, 4 of invuln save, shit ton of attacks, monster anti 3 up, 3 damage, right? You're like, all right, if they touch Morty, I'm probably dead. So what you do is they advance forward, and then your Poxes now move up like 5 inches in a big U, or against the wall, or 1 inch away from the wall. So that way it blocks out everything that they were trying to do before they make the charge. So also another thing I forgot to mention, reactive on a reactive. So Morty's reactive move could actually sometimes help you, because let's say I'm going into the 1 Space Marine character that has a reactive move flat 6, I think. So that way if I move up with a 9 of him, he can then move flat 6. But let's say I move up my Death Shroud. This was in my Space Wolf game, which I can't wait to go over that. But I moved up my Blight Launcher instead of my Death Shroud first. So what you could do is, let's say your Death Shroud move up to be within 5 inches or so of the unit that's trying to react to move, and they're still within 6 of Morty. What happens is you move up and your movement phase within whatever. They then get to react to move. So if they react to move and they're still within 9 inches of that Death Shroud unit, and the Death Shroud unit is within 6 inches of Mortarion, they can then proc a reactive move off of a reactive move. How it works is you have to end your normal move, which a reactive move is a normal move, and there's no phase locking. So it just says if a unit ends a normal move within 6 inches of Mortarion or a unit, they can then move up flat 5 inches. So you're basically reactive moving off of a reactive move. That works both ways. Sometimes their reactive move procs your reactive move, and your reactive move procs their reactive move. So try and remember that you could get extra inches off of your melee units by using that reactive move to your advantage. So how I messed up was my one drone moved up 9 inches or within 9 inches and then moved flat back fucking 6 inches away from me. So my Death Shroud unit was just in the open, can't really move anywhere. Their whole goal was to kind of move up, react to move, and then get closer to charge and kill them. But instead, they moved flat 6 inches away off of my bloat drone rather than my Death Shroud. So I should have moved my Death Shroud up first, reactive, and then charge to kill them. Instead, I fucked up order of activation and almost lost the game. So try and remember that is reactive move is busted as it is, can reactive move off a reactive move. So hopefully this explains why we ran this, what type of build this is. Hopefully it helps you out with playing this type of list or the Vectorum list in the upcoming RTTs and GTs that you guys are at. Stay tuned for the next videos. So we have Day 1, Day 2, Day 3. Again, if you guys are watching this, you're probably going right into Day 1, Day 2, or Day 3. If you guys want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com. Merch store, all the Death Guard stuff is up. And if you guys are going to Las Vegas, we will be there. And Worlds, we will be there as well. So let's get into one of these Nova days. What is up, gents? 40k Dirtbags here. If you guys are interested in joining the Dirtbag Nation over at patreon.com, you get a bunch of perks. What we did in 2024 was we really expanded. I had traveled a ton and I played my ass off in 40k. Right now we're ranked #1 best player in the United States on ITC rankings. We were the #1 Chaos Space Marine player in the world this year in 2024. 2 years ago, we got ranked #1 Grey Knight player in the world, and this year we're probably going to go into Death Guard, hopefully when the new Codex comes out, or Emperor's Children. But you guys, if you guys want that head coach or that coach always in your corner, just to ask questions, bounce ideas off, that's what the competitive Dirtbag and the Dirtbag Nation is all about. If you guys want to support the channel, you head over to patreon.com. You can join the Just a Car tab, which is $5 a month. You guys get access to the Discord Patreon tab. You have to be a patron to get into that Discord, and also I'm always there. All the other coaches are there. Basically, it's just such a good community over on Discord that you guys get specific access to it that only Patreons can get. If you guys want to bump that up, the competitive Dirtbag tier, you guys get to message me or another Grandmaster or another Dirtbag coach over the Dirtbag Nation to add unlimited questions, list ideas, list reviews, and bounce ideas off of. That's what having a coach in your corner is all about. If you guys want to bump up to the Grandmaster tier, that tier you get every perk under the sun. So basically you get access to Discord, you get one-on-one coaching, you get a call once a month if you guys would like to go over any RTTs coming up, any GTs coming up, any list reviews live over Discord chat, and also a special perk that Grandmasters get. If you guys want any video suggestions like we do all the time with these table setup that we just upgraded thanks to the Patreons, you guys get suggestions or battle reports you want to see specifically played live by a coach or myself on the next battle report, or a live battle report coming up on the Patreon. So you guys get obviously first access to all the videos. We post them first on patreon.com, but there's just a ton of benefits to having a professional coach that plays this game all the time at the very, very high competitive level in your corner at all times. And that's really what the Dirtbag Nation is all about, getting you guys better at 40K, the basics, and being good in your community. So if you guys want to support the channel, I really appreciate it. Couldn't have done it without you guys in 2024, 2025. I am super stoked for, super excited for. We really want to get a bigger studio going. That is going to be my focus in 2025, is really growing the community on YouTube and Patreon specifically. So thank you so much for
for 2024, all my Patreons. If you guys are interested in joining and want that coach in your corner, head over to patreon.com and support the channel. Appreciate it.